Former Secretary, Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying Shri Tarun Shridhar recently visited KJ Chaupal at Krishi Jagran headquarters in New Delhi. He was invited by MC Dominic, the founder and editor-in-chief of Krishi Jagran, and Shiny Dominic, the director of Krishi Jagran. Currently serving as the Secretary of the Department of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries in the Government of India. He has played a vital role in shaping policies and initiatives to enhance the welfare of farmers and the animal husbandry sector. Mr. Dominic expressed his happiness at Dr. Tarun's presence at KJ Chaupal, and he also believes that his guidance can help us in taking the aspirations of the Indian community to a bigger level in the agricultural domain.
A small village in Himachal Pradesh and could lead the Indian community in a big way and guide them. And now he will be telling the stories where, how he has influenced or guided millions of people into prosperity. His dream of touching with the rural population especially, we can see all through his career. That's what makes him something unique. That's what I think today also people look at him for guidance and inspiration. And I feel the way he will influence the young team we have here, none else can do it. And we will be really looking to Dr. Tarun for his support and guidance, because he has a huge exposure. And one unique thing I want to tell you, he may be the first bureaucrat who is coming here who has a flair for writing. It's not only for Indian journals or newspapers, even global. So his words will be very much dear to us because he is one among our community. So he can influence us in a way and he can guide us in a bigger way how we can take the aspirations of Indian farming community in a bigger level. He will be able to guide us in a big way. So Dr. Tarun, welcome, and we are really happy to listen to you. Please come, sir.
Dr. Tarun expressed his happiness. He had recently unveiled the Millionaire Farmer of India Awards trophy and logo during a curtain raiser ceremony, and also honored to be in KJ Chaupal and interact with KJ team. Let's hear what he said.
It was just a quirk of fate that being an IAS officer, I got posted to the Department of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries. Now, those of you who are not familiar, I would tell you that a posting in the Department of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries is considered to be a punishment. Like officers who are generally not in the mainstream or who are not very acceptable to the political masters or who have to be maybe taught a lesson that you have become too big. So they get posted to Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries. Now I don't know how many of the young boys and girls have come here to Krishi Jagran and be in the field of agriculture out of their own volition and happiness or passion, or how much are just waiting for a better future and option in say IT, hospitality and something which is glamorous. Now agriculture, and within agriculture the subsector of animal husbandry, dairying and fisheries are considered to be sectors and to use the modern parlance of this, they are not sexy sectors. They are very, very hardcore sectors. And traditionally also, you see, our entire perspective of how we approach agriculture is something which concerns the poor man, the backward person, the rural and village areas. Today also when we talk in terms of agriculture, we say livelihoods, we have to infuse subsidies, poor farmer, markets are exploiting the farmer, etc. So generally the person who's supposed to be associated with the agriculture is the person who's on the margins of society and who's a bit backward and who needs our support. And maybe many of our urban people feel that we have to handhold the farmer and the rural person and tell him how to live his life, how to earn his livelihood and how to manage his or her affairs. Now having said that, there is a historical background to this. Now I'm sure everyone in this room has been born after 1947. And as I see around, I think I'm the oldest person. Mr. Dominic? Are you older than me?
I hope I will.
Okay. Now, many of us who have been born in, many of you would be born in the present century, or maybe in the 90s or 2000, perhaps some in 80s, some in 70s. But people who have grown up in this country immediately after independence would be able to appreciate what I say. And why I want to set the context for you is to understand that when we got independent, and when I remember that we were growing as children, going to school, getting a bread was a challenge. There was only one brand of bread available, that was Britannia. That was, is it all okay? That was Britannia. And Britannia also had one factory in Delhi with very limited capacity. And if you were late going to the market or to the shop, there used to be very few shops, and you reached at 8 or 8:30, you would not get bread. Then, how to come up with this bread shortage? Government opened a factory for making bread. It was called Modern Bakery. So then, Delhi had two breads, one was called Britannia and one was called Modern. Only the big cities like Delhi, etc. had the luxury of having some kind of a branded breads. Even an elementary thing like bread was not available. Milk was not available. Then government set up a milk plant called Delhi Milk Scheme. I don't know how many of you are aware of Delhi Milk Scheme. It still has some booths in Delhi. And it has in Shadipur depot, it has a very, very huge milk plant. We used to carry bottles, empty bottles in the morning, and we used to have a token. I'm talking in terms of 70s, even in 70s or 80s when I was in school. Now before going to school, either me or my brother, I was elder, so generally me, had to get up at 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning, stand in the big queue with a token and 5 or 6 empty bottles, deposit the empty bottles and take filled up bottles of milk. This is how we used to get milk. And many times it was a government department selling milk. And in government department, you can imagine what kind of customer service you get. So sometimes there would be a very cantankerous person sitting in the milk booth. He will say, your bottle is chipped, I will not accept this bottle. Or you pay for this bottle. So this is how we used to get milk. Immediately after independence, the country was on the verge of starvation. We didn't have enough wheat for our people. So, how many of you know of PL 480? सर आपको नहीं पता, पीछे पूछ रहा हूँ मैं. आप तो मेरी जनरेशन के हो ना. Okay, how many of you know what is PL 480? Anyone? Now, we didn't have wheat, so we went to USA asking them for wheat. Now today, if you study history, people think that USA gave us wheat in aid. No, USA enacted a law called PL 480. That time the law of exports from USA was that USA will do exports trade only in terms of dollars. Because India was on the verge of starvation, so they passed a law specially for giving wheat to India for a particular period, agreeing to accept the payment in rupees. So wheat was sold to us by accepting in rupees, but they called it aid. They thought that we had given a big concession. And the wheat which was given to us and the wheat which we used to buy from the ration shops was a wheat. Today even the ordinary farmer would not give his cattle. It was such a poor quality of wheat. So this is what I'm just giving the examples of 2 or 3 of the essential items, wheat and milk. So same was true of many of the things. Today we are making a hue and cry if tomatoes have become 150 to 200 rupees a kg for a short period. There are that time having a tomato at home or dal mein tadke mein tomato dalna was luxury. You belong to a very such a rich family that you were using tomatoes. This is what the scenario was, and I'm not cooking up a story. This is when we were growing up and we were in school. So basically, what in terms of the food commodities, there was a shortage all around. At that time, the entire focus as far as agriculture was concerned was production, production and production. Increase the production. Now today we, from that situation which persisted till the late 70s, into the 80s, we are in a situation where we are the biggest in the world. If not the biggest, at least one of the biggest in the world. You name a commodity, be it wheat, be it rice, cereals, vegetables, fruit, milk, fish, poultry, eggs. In each and every product, we are either number one or one of the three. This is where we have reached. Now that we have reached there, I think it is high time we start changing our perspective from agriculture to merely being a traditional activity of certain rural people, a livelihood activity to a viable business activity, and start looking it at as food production systems. Now of late, we find that many of the young people who have formed startups, etc. are venturing into this field, but again they are venturing into what we would call the sexy part of this field, marketing. It is marketing, home delivery, cooked food, packaged food, value-added products, etc., etc. But as far as the hardcore farming is concerned, there is still a huge gap. Now, having said this, bit of a historical background, within the sector, larger sector of agriculture is a sector called animal husbandry. Now, whereas agriculture, which we can now classify or categorize as crop husbandry, deals with crops. Now there is an animal husbandry. Now animal husbandry may be a subsector of agriculture, but it has its own peculiar characteristics. You have cattle, you have buffaloes. There is hardly any commonality between the physiology or the habits or the management of cow and buffalo. Then you have poultry, you have piggery, you have sheep husbandry, you have goatry, you have fish. So within the sector you have so many of the other sub-sectors, etc. Now do you know we are the biggest milk producer in the world?
Yes.
Not you, I am asking these young boys. You have been. Do you know that India is the biggest milk producer in the world? How many of you know? Raise your hands. Why don't you raise your hand if you know? Okay, now you tell how much milk do we produce in each year? Yes, you?
Sir, it's becoming now 8 point something metric tons.
How many metric tons per year? Last year, how much milk did we produce?
40, it's raising 25% more than last year.
Okay, I'll tell you. We produce 210 million tons of milk. 210 million tons of milk last year, maybe more. Around 210 million tons. Which is the second biggest producer in the world? Anyone? आप लोग सुन भी रहे हो क्या सिर्फ सोच रहे हो कि टाइम हो गया घर जाने का, जल्दी चले घर? Second biggest is USA. Okay, if we are 210, how much would USA be? अंदाजा? If we win the gold medal, silver medal USA में कितना होगा?
80 million tons. Around 80 million tons.
99 million tons is USA. So what I'm saying is, why I'm trying to dramatize this figure is that number 2 is less than half of ours. Number 2 is less than half of ours. This is how big we are. This is how big we are. And this is something we should understand and know. Now here is a group which is associated with Krishi Jagran. Krishi. But they are not answering this question. Now you think of what the common man would be thinking in terms of our this sector. We are the biggest, USA is number 2, less than half of ours. That means for years to come, they can never catch up. we will always win the gold medal in the milk Olympics. Okay? This is where we stand. This is from a situation where a young boy, before going to school, would stand in the queue with a bottle in hand to get milk from a government milk booth. This is how we have progressed. The value of the milk we produce, in financial terms, in terms of money, is more than the combined value of the entire wheat and rice we produce. 7.5 lakh crores is the computed monetary value of the milk we produce. This is how big we are. But there is a catch now. The productivity of our milch cattle is about 1700 kilograms per year. We call it per milching cycle, which is computed to be 300 days a year. A cattle or a buffalo gives milk for an average 300 days a year. So our productivity is 1700. Exact, it is 1705 kilograms per animal per year. The global is about 2000. And there are cows in USA, Israel, places which give nearly 14,000. So this is what characterizes our agriculture sector. And agriculture sector which includes animal husbandry, dairying and fisheries. In fact, I think I quoted that day also when I participated in your event. And it's a very famous, very important and very favorite of my quotes from the famous novel of Charles Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities. How many have you read it? Okay, Tale of Two Cities, if you have not read it, you please read it. It's a classical and a very, very famous novel of Charles Dickens. And this novel is supposed to be having one of the most impressive opening lines of any work of fiction. It starts with, the opening lines of the novel are, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was a spring of hope, it was a winter of despair. So it goes on like this. So I would say this is what characterizes our animal husbandry sector. It is the biggest, 210 million tons of milk, but it is the smallest. Productivity is only 1700 kilograms per cattle. Bottom as far as the productivity is concerned, highest as far as the production is concerned. Come to fish. We are the second biggest fish producing country in the world. We are which is the first? Everybody, you don't let them speak. Have you told them not to answer and you just listen? No? I was telling Mamta that I would like that it should be interactive. Rather than me speaking, let them speak and we interact and discuss with each other. But I think that will not be. Okay, which is the biggest fish producing nation in the world? China. Yes, very good. What's your name? Sunaina. It rhymes with China. Okay. Now, China is the biggest fish producing nation in the world, and we are the second biggest fish producing nation in the world. Although I think of latest figures say that Indonesia has pushed us to the third place, but we are contesting those figures. I don't know whether rightly so or not, I would not comment. Now again coming to productivity, in fish when we take productivity, there are two kinds of things. One is a fisherman taking his boat or a ship or a fishing vessel going out and catching fish from the sea. So that fisherman is actually a hunter. He hunts for food. Second is a fisherman who is making a pond in his farm and he is putting seed in the farm and putting feed, etc. That is a farmer. That is a fish farmer. But in the entire fish sector, so we cannot say what is the production per hectare or so we say production per unit effort. This is how we compute it statistically. Now, one of the most advanced fishing nations in the world is Norway. Norway, they say, per fishing unit effort per day gives you 228 kilograms of fish. And in India, it gives you 4 kilograms of fish. So this is the difference. So you can ultimately say that a fisherman or fish farmer in India per day produces 4 kgs of fish. Norway does 228 kgs of fish. Still we are the second biggest. So again what it shows is, we are very big as far as production is concerned, very poor as far as productivity is concerned. Now with these two examples, now you can multiply these two examples in every sphere except for poultry.
And so in these two examples, what is the role of population? What is the role of our population?
I am coming to that. I'm coming to that. You see, we can have this discussion of our population being a liability or an asset. So I would say there is a huge role of as far as the livestock population is concerned. I'm just coming to that. No, sorry, where was I? No, poultry. In poultry we are slightly better. Why we are slightly better in poultry is that poultry is one subsector of the livestock sector or one subsector of the agriculture sector wherein commercial dimensions have overtaken mere farming dimensions. Wherein you have developed entrepreneurship and you have virtually integrated farming with the markets. So 80% of the poultry industry in our country is an organized and integrated industry, whereas rest of the livestock sector is disorganized and disintegrated. It is the standalone farmers. In dairy, cooperatives have played a role, but cooperatives have still managed only about 20% of our milk production in the milk farmers. Now the issue is, why is it that we are biggest in terms of absolute production, but we are smallest in terms of productivity? Historical reason is our focus was on production, not on productivity. Our focus was on more wheat, more eggs, more milk, more fish, more paddy, everything more. Focus was not on making agriculture and its all subsectors into a viable economic activity which could be a profession of choice for the young boys and girls of this country. No book will tell you that we produce wheat worth so much of rupees. It will tell you that. Average productivity of cow or cattle or buffalo in this country is 5 liters a day. They will so not say on an average, one cow gives a farmer 200 rupees or 300 rupees per day. That is one focus which I would suggest, if Krishi Jagran can take it forward. That is when you will say, well, agriculture, animal husbandry, all these are actually vocations and professions which could be a very viable alternative career to pursue. This is one message I would like to. Why am I saying so? You see, even in the entire agriculture sector, the farmer is round the year grappling with the problem of cash flow. Cash flow is a big issue with the farmers. That is why traditionally our farmers have been generally under the influence of informal economy, of money lenders and other sources of finance. Typically in agriculture sector, you are sure that you have to make investment today. You put your money in the land. Now you are waiting. You are waiting and hoping that after 4 months or 5 months, this will give me returns. And the element of risk is so high, you don't know whether you will get any returns or not. And whether the returns you will get will be in plus or in minus. And whether the return rate, what would be the rate of return? Have you heard of any business wherein a person invests money without doing some elementary calculation of rate of interest or rate of return, sorry? Agriculture is the only sector wherein when you put money, you do not know what return would be, and if there would be any return, what would be the rate of that return. And you put money today, now for the next 6 months, that gives you nothing. It doesn't even give you interest which your FD can give you. And now you are waiting for it to come, so only twice a year you get money. But now look at the animal husbandry subsector. If instead of being purely a crop farmer, you are a dairy farmer, you get money every day.
Yes.
And you get money twice a day. You get money twice a day. Poultry, now an average what do we call the layer? There are two kinds. You know the difference between poultry, layer and broiler? Layer and broiler, who will tell? Okay, I'll start from here. What is a layer bird?
Sir, layer bird.
Which lays eggs? It is so simple. Layer which lays eggs, broiler which gives meat. So, you see, traditional farming used to be, you are rearing poultry and poultry is giving you both eggs and meat. Now poultry, 80% poultry has been integrated and specialized. You grow birds only as layers, or you grow birds only as broilers, and some as mixed birds. Now we have taboo in the country. In the Western world, the cattle is grown either for milk or for beef. There are only some cattle which are grown for hybrid purposes. Remind me to tell them about hybrid purpose cattle. It's again a very interesting story.
Yes.
Okay. So poultry, an average in the country in terms of per poultry bird is about 150 eggs. So when you have say 100 birds, 200 birds, 300 birds, you are getting cash flow every day. And poultry, goat, pig, etc. are also called the ATM of the farmer. Anytime you need money, you have something to sell. You can sell a goat, you can sell a sell a chicken, you can sell a sheep, but it's not easy to sell cattle or this thing every day because the numbers are very small plus the amount is very good. So sometimes I find it very surprising that our policy makers, be it political level policy makers or bureaucrats like me, why did we neglect this sector which can actually be the backbone of the farmer and the rural economy in terms of assured cash flow? Here is a crop husbandry, pure agriculture, which is giving you money at the most twice a year, or some progressive farmers can take it three times a year. And here is another active subset of agriculture, that is dairy, poultry, piggery, fish, which is giving you money every day. This kind of financial and social security the farmer can have. So why these sectors have always been relegated to the back is something which we need to understand. Maybe Krishi Jagran also has to understand how much focus do you give on these sectors and how much focus do you give on wheat, rice, horticulture or other crops, and how much focus you give here. So this is something you have to see. Consistently, what is the growth rate of agriculture? What has been the maximum growth rate? What has been the maximum growth rate of agriculture in the say last 3 decades? Growth per annum, 3%. It's been, see, the annual growth rate of agriculture has been stagnant at around 3%, and generally it hovers between 2 to 3%. Now let us come to the animal husbandry sector. Milk for the last 30-40 years has been growing at plus 6%. Fish has been growing at 8%. Poultry has been growing at around 11%. And in poultry, meat industry is now in India, Indian meat industry is the fastest growing food production industry in the world. It is growing at 24%. Now this is the kind of growth in this sector is. That is one of the reasons our farmers, traditional farmers, most of them may be into this occupation because of hereditary compulsions of tradition and culture and other things. But they've been very smart in one aspect. We are probably the only country in the world besides say Pakistan, Bangladesh and a few African countries wherein almost each and every farmer, I would say each and every farmer, barring a few fashionable farmers like me, who practice what we call mixed farming. You will not find any farmer in the village who does not also have some livestock. At the same time, you would not find farmers who are purely livestock farmers. Why does farmer have livestock also is because that is his financial security, not the crops he is growing. So that is what the importance of these sectors is.
Sir, we also would like to know your thoughts on our millionaire partner of India.
Okay, no, as I said that day, you see, Mamta would bail me out. It is for agriculture today that initially I had written that article precisely on this theme only. Please don't talk in terms of livelihood, farmer subsidy, etc. Talk in terms of farmer being an entrepreneur, farmer being a rich person. You see, why would a young boy or a girl take to farming as an activity? You show him that if you take up farming as a vocation rather than looking for a job here or looking for a startup there, because farming would give you so much money, you would be able to change your smartphone every 6 months.
Yes.
The day they know that, well, farming will give me so much money, I can change my smartphone every 6 months, and every Friday evening I can go to a fancy place to party, etc., they will take up farming. Show money. Don't just show the cow, buffalo, or the crop, and don't give him this pep talk of how your farmer serves them. We talk big things कि farmer serves the nation, अन्नदाता है, ये है वो है. तो अन्नदाता को पैसा भी दे दो ना. So once you, and I wrote also, you say give us minimum support price. अरे why not maximum support price? Why are we always talking of minimum support price, subsidy, income support, etc.? Say a farmer, I can give income support to you. This is what kind of this thing, and that is what poultry has shown. 80% poultry is integrated. This is what shrimp industry has shown. I give you the example of shrimp. Sir, my statement, I can challenge anybody. You can go around and talk to any farmer and test my statement. What were you in the year 2010 and what you became in year 2020? They said that every festival season used to bring depression, that we'll be able to give at least one new set of clothes to our children in the festival season. Now they change their BMW in a festival season. This is how the things have transformed, because it was shown as a commercial activity. Why are you looking at markets here and there, and you look at New York, look at Belgium, send your shrimp there, etc. This is how poultry has done. Entire poultry is getting consumed here. You see, we are the second biggest producer of egg in the world. We are the fastest growing poultry and meat industry in the world. But we are number 26 or number 27 as far as exports is concerned. This is such a huge market here. To just type, just go to Big Basket Delhi or any of these apps and see 20 kinds of eggs are available. That when you are getting egg for 5 rupees also, you are getting one egg for 50 rupees also. This is how industry has grown. They have integrated right from the farming activity till the market activity. So you have create entrepreneurs, create these millionaires. And that is what I was trying to tell Mr. Dalwai that day.
Yeah.
Prime Minister gave you the task of doubling farmers' income. Now it is being taken from not only doubling, making them millionaires. But again, as I said again, define what a millionaire is.
The event concluded with a vote of thanks delivered by the group editor and CMO of Krishi Jagran, Mamta Jain.
I wanted to desperately listen to you. I mean, I have been listening to you since a very long time, reading your articles. We all know that you are such an acclaimed author. And I mean, I used to feel very proud when very eminent stalwarts from the agriculture sector used to call me up. कि वही तरुण श्रीधर सर आपके सब्जेक्ट पे लिखने वाले. So when are you publishing the next article from him? So I used to feel very proud about it. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we solicit your continued support, sir, for Krishi Jagran.
Right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you. Thank you. Right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Nobody clicked your picture, eh?